Hi there and welcome. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and today I am making a knitting bag, a tapestry bag, and the handles are going to be bamboo poles going across the top, and it's going to be able to squash flat when we're not using it, and when we are using it, it's just to protect your knitting needles or your tapestry frame. So it's a very simple bag, but because we want the bamboo ends sealed in, then, you know, there's a couple of wiggle bits, as I like to think of them. So I've got here poly cotton, and I've got two pieces, and I am making sure that the opening is long enough to encompass the bamboo. Yeah? Now the bamboo is from my garden shed, and I've made sure that I have washed it out, really, because it's an ideal home for wasps hibernating, or even spiders to have little babies. Now what I'm doing here is I'm literally cutting out the handholds. I know. Now you could make a pattern for this. Obviously I haven't, I've guessed it, and then I'm just cutting the top because this was done on the fold. So what I'm left with is pretty much 2 squares of the outer fabric and 2 squares of the inner fabric. Of course it's a rectangle, and of course it has the handle missing. Now I'm going to make sides for it, and the sides need to be, I'd be better off doing this, the width of the sides and then the length to the top. So, and again, I'm going to need 2 of 2, so I'll just trim these. So yes, if you're making it 3 inches wide, then you have to take 1.5 inches off the height of the sides, just so we can sew the bottom in. And then that's going to make it nice and square. Oh, I don't know if I should guess that or I should line it up first. There we go. So I've got that left over, and that's sort of halfway. Okay, now let's put everything out of the way that I don't need. So what I've got here is my 2 main bodies of the lining, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the lining, and then I'm going to sew the body, and then I'm going to sew them together. So the first job is I'm going to hem. Now I only need to fold it once, and this is for the holes where the bamboo goes through. It makes it look tidier, but it also reminds you not to sew it up, because it's very easy to do that. So just do 2 of them and then come back and do the other 2. So all I've got there at the top of the loop is just 2 inches of hemmed bit, and it gives it longevity as a bag because we can keep it nice then. Now, as I said, I'm using proper bamboo from a garden. Now, you can buy Pacific bamboo for this job, and of course you can varnish it as well. But I think it looks quite nice, natural, and as this is for me, then I'm not too worried, although I have checked for spiders. Now I've done that little job, which is important to me because I would just carry on sewing, I'm going to place them right side to right side, and I'm going to join the bottom up. So nice and simple. There we go. Now again, I'm not pinning, and it really is up to you. Just because I don't pin doesn't mean that you can't. It's just that I know this fabric, I know my sewing machine, so I'm pretty sure that it will stay there. You know, if I no hands, it will go straight. sew the sides. So I've opened it out again and I have buried the sides in the offcut. And I'm going to take it from the top, and it's always best to put the moving bit when you're sewing something like this on top. It just means you can see it quite clearly. So I'm going to leave my needle down, I'm lifting my foot up, and I'm literally pulling this side down to where I want to sew it. And then down again, and then pull it. Now sometimes it sort of curls under when you do that. What I do is, if I can't knock it out with my finger whilst I'm doing it, then I just get a pin and push it through. So that's what we're left with, the sides coming up the side of the bag. So that's what we're left with. I'll turn it inside out for you to see. So we've got that little side panel, and then we've got the bag. Now I'm going to switch the camera off, I'm going to do the other side, and I'm going to do the other bit of fabric, but that's all I'm going to do. The bottom, the little stitches at the top, and then I'm going to come back to you and we're going to see how we're going to put it all together. Hello there. So just on the top here bit, now I'm really sorry, I should have said that we do need to leave a little bit when we're sewing up the sides of the lining, just so we can turn it all inside out. Now I can only apologise for that, it really was a lapse in concentration there. So, and that happens when you're sewing something that you regard as quite simple, that you can literally just not think. So yes, I always find I make more mistakes when I'm sewing something that I know I can sew. Okay, so what I've done is I've turned one of them inside out and I've kept the other one the right way round. So, and it's a case of now I've got my two right sides together. And you know, if it's not natural, then you just have to stop and think. Now all I have to do is sew along this top. Obviously I'm going to jump the bits where I've hemmed, and this is why I've hemmed them already. It's so that I've got like a visual cue, I suppose. And I'm going to start from where I've left the hole in the lining. So, okay, so I've got it all in the right place. Now I'm not going to pin again. I'm just going to rebel. So all we need to do now is we literally sew along the top. Now every seam, what I'm going to do is, before I get to it sew wise, I'm just going to adjust it, and hopefully you can push the extra fabric in without causing gathers. So now I've come up to the seam, this little bit of hem here, and I've stitched over it. I'm going to take it out. I'm not going to cut the thread, I'm just going to pull a bit of thread through, line it up again, and large enough so that you can get the bamboo through. And I've joined it up together, and then I'm going to stitch round the handhold. So one thing I have done is I've just pulled out the fabric so I can get it nice and tidy, because you want all the rough bits on your side so you can see them, so that then they won't be on the inside. Okay, so I've got that all stretched out, and I'm just coming round the curve. Now I'm making sure that I've lined this up. Now it's a bit confusing because I'm terrible. I keep my bobbin thread under, and then I catch up on my bobbin thread. So I've just come up to the top of those little hem stitches again, pull it out slightly, and then I'm going to start up again. Now it is about visual cues with me. If I was just sitting here on my own, I would have sewn through that. So now Now again, I've made sure my seams join up before I start sewing. And I'm just about to go over the first of the side seams, and then I'm going to line up my second side seams. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same again, lining up my hem seams, a couple of reverse stitches for strength, leaving the needle up and the foot up, give myself a little bit of thread, and literally just sort of, I'm going to stitch on the stitches and then I'm going to sew around the handle. So I know, nice and easy really. So I just lifted that up just whilst I turn it round. It's quite a tight curve that I've cut myself. So, and I've spreaded out the seams. I'm just coming up to a couple of stitches. Then, there we go. Needle up, pull it through, not too violently that you lose your cotton. And then I can just jump in. Now I've chose to leave the turning inside out bit on the side rather than the top. And of course, if you forget that, then you can do it on the top. I just like the bits that you can see to be as tidy as possible. Now what I'm doing here is I'm picking up in a kind of triangle way the lining, so that when I come to sew it back together, then it will be nice and tidy. Couple of reverse stitches, and then we get to turn it all inside out. So what we need to do is we need to pull it through so it's all right side round, because this is what we're left with. So I had that hole a second ago, there we are. And you can make this hole as big as you like. Obviously I know this is cotton, so I know that it's going to be quite well behaved. I've left it big enough that I could put my hands in and grab the furthest bit away. So now what we're left with is this, and we've got our 2 bits of bamboo. So we're going to take it up and find the holes, and you need to put it through the nearest to you hole first, and then put it to the furthest hole. It's all wiggling, I'm afraid. There's no two ways about this, it's all wiggling. Now I am going to top stitch this just because I believe it gives it rigidity, because at the minute it all looks a bit floppy, and if we dropped it then the handles will probably fall inside the bag, as it were. They won't fall out because it's going to be quite in there. So now I've got both my handles through the holes. I'm going to hand stitch the lining in. I'm just going to put literally 1 stitch and a knot in each of the corners. But once we've got stuff in it, then obviously it will keep it better. So, and you know, you can see where it's going. So, if you excuse me, I've got to put my sewing machine right on the edge, because I know that otherwise I'm going to hit the window and it's going to be just a bit difficult to sew. So the first side, I am literally going to place the bamboo and the handle. I hope you can see how far away I am, and it is optional, this bit, it really is. I just think it looks tidier. So now you don't have to do it too close that you're forcing it, but it just looks a bit more professional. So I've done that. Now I'm following the curve. And I'm just sort of smooshing it out with my hand, and I'm doing exactly the same on the under one. And this is where you get a bit of a shock if you haven't moved your sewing machine away from the window. So let's take that down there. And then just sew to the end. Don't sew to the end of the bamboo, just sew to the end of the bag. And I've ignored where it was naturally lying, and I've just smooshed it so that the lining and the outer bag are parallel. Okay. So that's that side done. On the other side, I have to just, I've got my hole here still, and if I put my fingers in it and then pull it taut, it will naturally pop up. Yeah. And you can pin this, or you can do any way you like. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it. Once I've got it in the sewing machine, I always use the foot as a third hand. Then I'm just going to tidy it up slightly. Lovely. So that's done. That's the hole where you turned it round. And I'm going to keep that piece of thread. I can keep it in the sewing machine, and then I'm going to do the last one. Again, if it's sitting like that, I'm not going to sew along here. I'm just going to line it up, and I'm going to do that by eye, and I'm going to do it to the bag rather than the bamboo. So, but it's a good idea just to take a moment and make sure you've got nothing caught up underneath. So, I can put that out the way. Oopsie. Okay, so again down with the needle, and I'm just going to top stitch the handle and the line, well, the red and the white. And there's no reason to do this last stage. So I'm going to just wiggle it round. I'm going to try and ignore the bamboo. You know, think of the bamboo as a hindrance at the moment, but because it's easier to sew thinking of the bamboo. So, and I've got that level, and I'm going to sew to here, whereas the bamboo, if I push it out the way, ends all the way up there. So I'm going to sew the bag rather than the bamboo. Now, because I've got it at a twist, it's just hitting the pedal, but that's okay. Lovely. So other than the trimming of the ends and those 4 little stitches that I want to put just to join the lining into the bag, I'm all done. All I need now is a tapestry or a knitting needle. So just do it to the size of the frame or the size that you want it. And remember, wash your bamboo out, because, well, I don't know, if it's been in the garage, it's been in the garage. Okay, thank you ever so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. Thank you.